Alright, so I'm gonna get my AC lines crimped. I gotta take them off and take them to the shop. So what I did, before you move anything or take anything off, you gotta mark everything so they'll crimp it in the right spot. So you don't want this thing crimped, you know, over, because then this thing is gonna be in a bind. So I just got a white paint marker, and I marked each one of them where they need to be crimped. So you just gotta carefully take them off and make sure you don't take the paint off. There's that glare again. Did the same with all of them. So now I'm gonna take them off and get them crimped. So I got all the hoses crimped. This is what was left over from the made to fit kit. As you can see, they send them extra long, which is great. So, cause I was able to route them behind the fender well. Here are my marks. Everything is crimped on the mark. I'm gonna go ahead and get these installed right now. Hopefully it'll be the last time I install these hoses. I've already installed them twice, I believe. You know, just for fitment, just to make sure everything's good. So right now I'm gonna lube up the O-rings. The Vintage Air kit comes with this lubricant for the O-rings. It just comes in this little container here, and it's plenty enough for the whole thing. There's no label on it. It's just lubricant for the O-rings, and all you do is you just lube up the O-rings just like that all the way around right before you install them. And the reason or the purpose for that is so you won't tear your O-rings when you install them, because you do run the risk of tearing them if you install them dry, and it obviously breaks the seal, and you're not going to get a vacuum whenever you start the process of filling in the freon. And if your vacuum doesn't hold, you obviously have a leak in the system and you won't be able to fill the freon. So this lube is super important, and again, it comes in the kit. So I'm gonna install these AC hoses, and then I'm gonna go on with the wiring, and I'm gonna show y'all that as well. So I'll bring y'all back. Okay, so I got my wires ran from or routed, I should say, from the evaporator box from the main harness. This is the main harness right here for the ECU. This is the ECU or computer, whatever you want to call it. So here is the main harness. I have everything tucked away. There was already a hole right here. There was actually a plug there. I don't know what it was plugging, but it was a factory hole with a factory plug. I just pulled the plug out and I put a grommet on there. So I ran the harness through there, and then it goes to the back over here. I made that hole with the hole saw. It was easy. My drill fit in here pretty well. That's a really big space in there, so there's plenty of space for a drill and a hole saw. So anyways, that harness is ran through the firewall. And then back over here, in there, right there, you see the grommet? So here are the wires that come out of the main harness right here. These will go behind my fender well, between the fender and the fender well behind here. So this blue wire goes to the trinary switch. I think I already said that, but just to make sure. These two white wires are ground. And then this right here has a circuit breaker. If I can open this with one hand or not. Try. Here we go. Here's a circuit breaker. So these two red wires go on this circuit, and then the other side of the circuit goes to the battery. And that's it for this side of the harness. So I'm going to wire my ground straight into the ground that's on the chassis and on the engine, and then the power itself, I'm gonna run it straight to the power lead over here. So it's gonna be wired into the power lead. So I don't have any issues with power and no issues with ground. So all of this is gonna be hidden which is great. And I'm gonna get to that switch in a minute. So everything under the dash is tucked away, is buttoned up. I'll show you another couple of wires that are down here. This little gray wire right here, where's it at? Right here. It comes like that, and it's to reprogram the ECU to the controls. So you want this one to be accessible. So we're gonna just drop them right there. There's a wire that plugs into that to reprogram it. It's super easy. I'm gonna show y'all how to do that when we get there. The only other wire that I have left to connect right now, or to run, I should say, or route, is this violet color wire. This violet wire comes off of the main harness. And again, I'm gonna show you where it's at on the instructions. So here's the main harness plugged into the evaporator box. Main harness, it's this violet wire here. This violet wire goes down to the ignition. You see it says run and battery. So you're gonna put it on the run side. And I have the illustration of my ignition from my American Auto wiring, and it's gonna go right here. You see you got ignition, battery, solenoid, brown accessory. So you're gonna go to the pink, I believe it's pink, the pink ignition wire. Yes it is, ignition feed pink. So this wire here, I'm gonna run it through the back of the dash. Just right through here somewhere. Right behind all of this, behind the radio possibly. And here is my ignition. And this pink wire right here, you see it says right on it. That's a beautiful thing about the American Auto wire. Every single little wire is labeled completely down to the T. So I'm gonna jump that wire over here. I'll probably maybe just peel some back here, and then just wire it up to the pink. So that's pretty good. So I'm gonna route this. I'm gonna plug it in completely for good now. The rest of the wire harness, as you can see, is, or maybe not, is right there. So that relay, I self-tapped it right above the factory hole that was there where I ran the harness. And then the rest of the harness, I neatly put it together, and then I zip tied it together so they can be nice and tight up there, and they won't be moving around or anything, or falling down. So that's what it looks like from up here, if y'all need this view for whatever reason. Another thing that I didn't do that I need to do is there's some sticky tape that goes around this suction line right here in this little piece. So I need to put that sticky tape on there. If you look at this black stuff right here, that is sticky tape. It's sticky, but it's not, if you touch it, it's sticky, but it doesn't leave a sticky residue on your finger. But you wrap it around this right here, which is easy. So I'm gonna do that before I put on the glove box and the door itself. But anyways, that's the wiring. So I'm gonna finish wiring that up. I'm gonna wire up the trinary switch and my second fan, and I'm gonna show you how to do that as well. So that's a wrap so far for this harness. On the interior, this panel right here, it comes with the kit. It's called a fresh air cover, and it just covers that hole right there. That's it. So I ran the drain where it asked to be ran, and it worked out pretty good. So I had to drill a hole in the floor here, and it did not end up being on the firewall. It's actually below the firewall, kind of tucked on the side of the body mount. So that worked out well. I may have to get a longer hose for it. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. Oh, probably not. But anyways, it's on this side of the body mount on the bottom. There, you can kind of see it right there. It drains to the bottom. I want to get a longer one because it's kind of close to my exhaust, and I don't want it to drip on my exhaust. But so next, all that's left to do here is wire up this control panel right here. So here is the violet wire that goes to the ignition, and I have it tied in right here to the ignition. So that was pretty easy. This harness isn't bad at all. Again, everything's tucked in there, and it's right through the grommet. And then over here in the back where I showed y'all. So I was already able to run the wires behind the fender. They are right here. So now I just gotta connect them. So this wire, this blue wire, is gonna go to one of the wires over here. So I'm gonna wire up the control panel, and then I'm gonna come back and wire this, which is easy. It's just power, ground, and the switch. Then I'm gonna wire up the fan to the whole AC system. I'm gonna show you how to do that, and that's part of it, that trinary switch. So I'm gonna start with the control now. Okay, so I got my controls out of the car right here, and these are the cable converters right here. This is the harness for them right there. There's 4 connectors here. One of them is not used, and I'll explain that in a minute. So the first thing that it asks for is to cut these right here. So all 3 of them need to be cut. And as you can see in the illustration here, you just go to the 4th hole, 1, 2, 3, 4, and cut it. 1, 2, 3, 4, cut it. So that's what it looks like after it's cut. You just have 3 holes, and then you install the clamps. So let me cut these and do that. So I cut these off with the wire snips. It was super easy. And then you put the clamps, make sure they're all in the same direction. Okay, so I'm gonna install the first, the control cable converter. So before I start, I need to show y'all that I have a non-AC controller, because this is original to my car. My car is a non-AC car. So the AC car has 4 levers and a switch on top, which you actually don't need for this setup. The vintage air for AC car or non-AC car only uses 3 levers. So some guys with AC control panels use the non-AC control panels because there's only 3 levers. So to begin, we're gonna do the temperature first, because that's what it calls for the temperature. So you're gonna turn this thing around. Well, before you do that, the lever has to be in the innermost position. So you put the lever all the way in. There it is right there. You turn it around, and then you're gonna be using these 3 screws. So I'm gonna take this one off. I already loosened it. And what you wanna do now is, that's a long screw. You're gonna grab your controller here that you already cut, and it already has a clamp on it. So this one goes facing this way like that. And what you wanna do is insert the lever or the stud there in the hole to where the end of the controller right here, of the cable controller, is flush. Let me get a good view of that. Is flush right there at the end of the control panel. So that's where it needs to go clamped, right there. And again, you gotta make sure that the lever is all the way pushed in, and we're doing the temperature one right now. So now I can go ahead and clamp this one on using the factory screw. So there it is, clamped in. And these are supplied clamps, and this is the OEM screw right there. So as you can see, that little lip of the controller is flush with the back side of here. And so in the innermost position, what you want is for this to be all the way in, the rod itself. But you don't want it to split the rod, because the rod is split right there, as shown in this figure right here. You don't want this flat part to go inside of that. So, and it clearly says right there, do not allow rod to separate housing when the rod is in the innermost position. So as you can see, the housing is split. So that's why you want to clamp this thing, this little lip, flush to the end of the housing, and then put the clamp. And make sure your lever is all the way in, and then put it in the last hole. So the little lever stud is calling for this little push pin. This thing is tiny. These are also provided in the kit. So this little push pin just goes right over here. So I can't really do that with the phone in my hand, but anyways, you get it. I'm gonna push those in and secure the lever right there, the rod on the lever. Okay, so there is the pin right there. You can see it's on the last hole. And the rod is all the way pushed in as it needs to be, with the lever all the way open. Okay, so now it's calling to put the harness on. The harness comes with 4 connectors. One of them is not used in this kit. And the only difference between every single one of these is the center wire. The center wire has a different color. So every one has a red and a white on the outside, red, white, but the middle wire has a different color. And that's how you go about connecting each different one. So the temperature one is the one we're doing now. See, it has a red and a white. The middle wire is white with a red stripe. So we gotta find that one, which is, that's white and yellow. Let's see what we got here, white and red, here it is. So over here we have white and blue. And then this one is white and green. So again, we're gonna use the white with the red stripe for the temperature. You can see it right there. So let me install that. Okay, so I connected this right here, and the kit supplied these tie wraps, and it's asking to force bend the wire over and put a tie wrap right here. Right there where my thumb is at. So I just want to make a note that these pins are super small, and it's easy to go around them and not connect them correctly. So you can kind of see through it. Well, I got a glare right there, but it's clear, and you can see when the plug is going in, just to make sure the pin's going correctly, because they're kind of delicate. So that's just a side note, sidebar. So I'm gonna put the tire up right here as it's calls for, and that's what it's gonna look like. You can see it says force bend wires over the step. So the step that they're talking about is this little step right here. So you secure that, and then you put it right over the step. And you're gonna have to do that to each one of those. We're pretty much just gonna repeat the exact same thing for the other 2. So the middle one is the mode, and then the last one is the temperature of the fan. So we're gonna do the mode and the fan. Okay, so we got the mode one in, and it calls for yellow, white with a yellow stripe. So let's find that one here. It's green. It's yellow right here. So mode, which is the center one in this case, is going to be the white with the yellow stripe. You can see it right there. Okay, so this last one calls for the wire with the green stripe on it. This other one with the blue stripe is not used in this kit. So you can just zip tie that away or tape it off somewhere. And that is, the one we're connecting now is for the lower speed. And you can see it says red and white with the white and green stripe. So that's the one we're connecting now. It for this part of the install. They're all connected now, and again, this fourth one is not used. I'm gonna zip tie it out of the way once I install this, and then the end of this harness just goes connected to the ECU on the evaporator box. So I'm gonna install this, and then I'm gonna route these wires, and then I'll show you where I take this out of the way and where I run these through. Okay, so we got the controls back on. Yeah, I'm gonna show you how I routed the wires. So this is the harness for it. It's extra long. So I just zip tied the extra length right here together on this bracket and put it through here behind this first defrost vent. Back over here, and then it just comes out right here. Plugs up right there. Super easy. On the bottom, let me show y'all something. Something that really would have made my day. Look how close those damn converter things are to my pedal. So I have an electronic pedal and it's kind of bulky. But man, they barely cleared the dang pedal. That would have sucked, because then I would have had to move my pedal a little bit down, and I actually like where it's at. So man, look at that. Super, super close. All right, so all that's left for the control panel is to program it, and it's super easy to program.